dedicated side event at the ministerial meeting will discuss this issue in more detail. Conduct and discipline has recurred as a theme throughout the preparatory meetings, and we hope to benefit from sharing the best practices of member states and identifying opportunities for growth, particularly in the area of partnerships. So the ministerial meeting will provide a unique forum for high-level discussion about strengthening peacekeeping. We're very grateful to Ghana for the pertinent themes that have been selected and will be discussed in the 3 sessions at this meeting. The first session will discuss capabilities for mandate delivery and ensuring effective operations, including protection, safety, and security and technology. Session 2 will delve into capacity building and training, including for mental health. The final session will explore the conditions for peacekeeping success, including post-government support, conduct, and strategic communication. The success of the ministerial meeting will depend on high-level participation from a majority of our peacekeeping stakeholders and a strong expression of political support, as well as complete pledges. So I encourage all of you to advocate for this with us. Now, as you indicated, Jenna, I mean, this is all happening against the background of tremendous challenges to the world security, to the UN, and to peacekeeping as an important part of the UN's activity in the area of peace and security. We need to think of how to improve the tools that we currently have, which are the current peacekeeping operations, and that will be the purpose of the Accra meeting. It's a very important purpose, discussing all the pledges, discussing about the various themes that I alluded to. But we also need to think further, medium term and long term. What is the future of peace operation? How can multilateralism remain a credible response, including through field operation to challenges to peace and security? And what can we do in order to make sure that this will be the case? The new Agenda for Peace provides a number of avenues and proposals for this to happen. And as member states will begin to process the new Agenda for Peace, including what it says about peace operation, we're planning to continue.
Peace TV reporters have been active at the UN headquarters since 2010, the age of former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. They are often invited to gather pictures and news about high-level meetings and events at the UN headquarters. We usually report live on the scene the events of dozens of countries, including the US, France, the UK, Israel, Germany, Russia, Egypt, Kuwait, Bulgaria, Ukraine, and Morocco, and the EU at the UN headquarters and their residences in New York. Our news reports have, in part, kept the international community up to date with the work of different governments so that people everywhere will know the great efforts and contributions of the UN to world peace, international affairs, and multilateralism.
Require that we must, among others, enhance the capabilities of peacekeeping and the performance we want to see delivered on the ground. And I have no doubt that peacekeeping itself, which was born out of necessity and innovation, has the capacity to evolve and adapt to the changing circumstances that we are facing. And you rightly also mentioned the equal report of the Secretary General, the emphasis on the need for primacy of politics, the strengthening of partnerships, as well as the focus of people, which in a sense represents the issues that even any evolved form of peacekeeping or any form of peace operation that we are basically should also take into account. In terms of the objectives for the Accra Peacekeeping Ministerial, this is the first ministerial to take place on the continent of Africa, and we are very deeply appreciative to have an opportunity to do this. And the aims are to achieve concrete outcomes that would improve peacekeeping operations in line with the ongoing reform efforts. Essentially, the Secretary General's action for peacekeeping, the A4P+, as well as the digital transformation strategy. In terms of specific objectives, there are two major ones. One is to ensure, as has been indicated by Jean-Pierre,
get an overview of the core preparatory conferences, and it will be very helpful for the member states. Like actually, the preparatory conferences were designed in a way to shape the way to the peacekeeping ministerial and to help the member states to know the needs, specific needs and challenges of the peacekeeping operations, and to subsequently to make pledges, as Under Secretary General has also mentioned, to make an overall improvement which are critical for massive delivery. And I think like we all will be helpful to, we all will be like get benefits from this policy forum today. So as you have already mentioned, that the first preparatory conference was held in Dhaka on 25th and 26th June, and actually Bangladesh, Canada and Uruguay were pleased to co-host the event. And I actually thank Canada and Uruguay for the great support for hosting their event in Bangladesh. And in that two-day event, actually close to 150 participants actually joined from 35 UN member states, and also all the UN personnel, think tanks, academia, and peacekeepers met to discuss and address the opportunities, challenges, and barriers to the meaningful participation of women in peacekeeping. We were pleased to have the kind presence of our Under Secretary General for DPO and also our Under Secretary General for Management, Strategic Policy and Compliance, Ms. Catherine Pollard, in the preparatory conference. The conference actually provided an open forum for member states and the UN to deepen their understanding and share best practices on challenges and barriers to women's meaningful participation in peacekeeping. It also talked about like measuring opportunities for women in peace operations, barrier assessment methodology, gender responsive leadership, and inclusive teams, safe, respectful and enabling environments, accountability for conduct and discipline, and achieving the implementing of the UGPS, the Uniform Gender Parity Strategy.
As well as I want to thank IPI for all the support that you have given us in making this topic, which is very, very real in the outside world, as we know, post-COVID, but also needed addressing for our uniformed personnel. So the pre-ministerial on mental health was held on Zoom. I was unable to travel, so we did it on Zoom, and I think because it was virtual, it attracted a large audience. We had nearly about 180 people for the 1.5 to it was I think about 3-hour session, and we didn't lose one participant. And I put that to the credit of the audience, that they laid such emphasis on this topic that they wanted to hear all of us speak to it. Mainly in the ministerial, I outlined exactly what my division and my team were doing, and I'll give you an update on that. I think the UN is finally at a place where we are acknowledging the fact that our uniformed personnel are also human beings. They are not machines trained as soldiers and police and do suffer from mental health issues. And as you said, the first time we brought this topic up was in the Seoul Ministerial, where we were looking for XP support to be able to address this very, very important topic. And I'm very grateful to Germany and to Israel, who stepped forward at that time to give us the funding to be able to start on the work in 2022 on developing the mental health strategy and the mental health strategic framework for uniformed personnel in the field. That strategy is ready. I'm happy to announce it has been now, it's in a place where it is ready to go for editing, final editing and translation. So hopefully by the end of the year, we will have the document ready.
Sensibility, it's our premier peacekeeping institute. The conference was held on 30th and 31st August with the presence of over 40 member states, around 150 delegates from member states and also from the UN Secretariat. We were very pleased to have Secretary Lacroix himself here, as well as the Under Secretary for DHMOSH. We had a very rich and substantive discussion, very good exchange of views. So we broke down the topic into 5 sub-themes. First, so the overall theme was safety and security, but 5 sub-themes were capacity building needs, international law perspective, medical capacity, role of technology and strategic communications, and the threats posed by improvised explosive devices, IEDs. We also organized one session on system of pledging, where the UN Secretariat people and also my colleagues gave an overview of how pledging is done, what's expected, and in our case we also outlined how Pakistan formulates and finalizes its pledges. We thought that session was very useful for member states to understand the expectation from them at the Ghana Ministerial, like Agyeman said, probably one of the most key or most important issues there. So during the meeting itself, the common refrain was that today peacekeepers face different kinds of challenges. The environment is complex, the threat levels have changed, and a lot has been done to reduce fatalities and to reduce preventable accidents, etc. So in some ways the safety and security aspect has been addressed, but then because of the changing nature of the environment in which they operate, these safety and security threats have heightened on other counts. So there is a need to identify the gaps and to get empirical data and to fill those gaps, to address those elements. There were 5 key takeaways that we could distill from the entire conversation, and I would briefly elaborate on that.
The Netherlands co-hosted the preparatory conference on the protection of civilians and strategic communications, along with Rwanda, Indonesia, and the United Kingdom. As you start your comments, maybe if you can also say a word about the decision to pair these 2 specific topics together, and in terms of combining strategic communications and the protection of civilians. That would be great. Thank you.
In order to be successful, noblesse oblige, the UN has to be successful, as millions of people in this world depend on the success of the UN and the UN peacekeeping. Regarding the evolving environment, organizations have to change, people within the organization have to change, the organizational culture has to change. And here our role comes into play. Without commitment of strategic leadership, as well as the member states and the academic support of think tanks, a cultural change will not occur. And consequently, the UN will not be in line with the evolving environment, and probably will be unsuccessful. Having said this, I would like to thank you for your commitment and the awareness of the necessary change for the future and future success. The Netherlands is a country that stands for alignment with the evolving environment and therefore embraces change as a condition for success. The Netherlands has championed the Action for Peace Plus, from the earliest stage, and will do so in the future in at least 2 areas. I would like to thank the leadership of it for its commitment and the recognition for the necessary organizational change. Your commitment, our commitment, is a precondition for success of the UN peacekeeping, on which millions of people depend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ed, for that. We have a bit of time now for Q&A or other types of interventions. We're happy to take questions and comments from the floor here in the room, and we're also able to take questions and comments from our online participants. So if you want to enter something into the Q&A feature, we'd be happy to read that out. We have some mics going around, so anyone who would like to take the floor, please go ahead and raise your hand.
My question is going to be direct to the Abdullah on the Women, Peace and Security event, and as also I'm going to start by using the ambassador of Netherlands, is that nothing lasts forever, but I wish that Women, Peace and Security lasts forever, because we need to increase the number of male or women in general.
Just to close, it's no secret that our world is at a very difficult moment right now, and it's really imperative for us to continue to come together and find ways to work towards peace and serve those on the ground who need it most. So thank all of you for your continued efforts in this area, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks very much, everyone.